If you saw my last video, then you know a majority of the state's population lives within the metro Atlanta area. So many people gravitate to the top half of the state, but there's still so many options of places to live. So what do you need to know about the different Atlanta suburbs in order to decide where to live? Hi, I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group. I'm a local real estate agent right here in the Northeast metro Atlanta area, and I specialize in helping clients from all over the country relocate right here to Georgia. Now, you're going to notice that the towns I will talk about today are in the Northeast metro Atlanta area. And that is because these are the areas that I live, work, and play in. They are the towns I focus on because of that. Depending upon who you talk to, some of these towns would not be considered suburbs of Atlanta because they are a good solid hour away from the city. We don't really have a good term for these towns. Some of them are a little far north to be considered suburbs, but they're not far enough to be classified as North Georgia. Anytime I say that, people online just come after me. I'm coming for you! Because that could be considered the northernmost part of the state, which is made up of small towns around the mountains. So what should we call them? I've always referred to this area that I work as the Northeast metro Atlanta area, but let me know what you would classify them as in the comments below. Some locals might say they are too far to be considered suburbs of the city, but there is one major point to be made about this area that we're going to be talking about, and that is that this is the most densely populated area in the state because of the great jobs, schools, and amenities. So let's start with one of the highest desired and top ranked towns in Northeast metro Atlanta area, and that is the town of Alpharetta. Alpharetta is one of the most upscale and sought after cities in the entire metro Atlanta area, and it's located in Fulton County. Alpharetta is often referred to as the technology city of the South, with numerous tech companies and corporate headquarters. This means there are some really high paying jobs in the area, which definitely draws in a very affluent population. There is a cool downtown area and great shopping like the Avalon, which is an upscale mixed-use development with high-end shopping, restaurants, and entertainment. Alpharetta is also known for its excellent schools, which makes it a very popular choice for families. Because of its desirability, now the cost of living in Alpharetta is higher than in many other parts of the Northeast metro Atlanta area, with an average sales price currently around $800,000 and going much higher in some of the more exclusive neighborhoods. Alpharetta is pretty much fully developed, so new construction homes are far and few between, and it comes with a massive price tag when you can find them. You will find many mature neighborhoods with great amenities here, like Windward and Seven Oaks. The combination of strong job opportunities, top-tier schools, and luxury amenities make Alpharetta one of the highest desired areas in the state. Now, next to Alpharetta is a town called Johns Creek, which was actually formerly a part of Alpharetta. So you'll find that these two towns are very, very similar. Johns Creek was recently ranked the #1 suburb in the US by Travel and Leisure for its job opportunities, schools, and affordable housing. But the article inaccurately described the housing affordability, in my opinion. While Johns Creek has excellent schools and a high median income, along with strong job opportunities, its housing market is far from affordable. The average home price currently is just shy of $900,000. Johns Creek has developed into its own desired area after it split with Alpharetta in 2006, and the town is working on a new mixed-use development of its own called the Medley, and it's working on a downtown area to further develop their own sense of identity as a town. Now, just like Alpharetta, the top-rated schools and numerous amenities, including parks and convenient shopping, have led to its major popularity. Now, despite the high cost of living, like in Alpharetta, families are drawn to the suburb for its excellent schools, job opportunities, and quality of life. Now, you will pay high prices for Alpharetta and Johns Creek because they are very commutable towns into the city of Atlanta, highly developed, really great neighborhoods, great schools, though it's far enough away not to have to deal with all of the pains of living in the city. Next to the east of Johns Creek, we have a town called Duluth, which is located in Gwinnett County. You start to find more affordable housing here compared to its neighbors, Johns Creek and Alpharetta. Duluth has a charming downtown area with some fantastic restaurants, including the popular Parsons Alley district, and it hosts year-round community events which give it that small town feel. Even though you're not really in a small town, you're still within a reasonable commute to the city, about 40 minutes to Atlanta, depending upon traffic. Now, Duluth's housing market is split between high-end country clubs with multi-million-dollar homes, and then also older, more affordable neighborhoods. Currently, the average sales price hovers around $665,000. Like I mentioned though, there are several country clubs, golf courses, and amenity-rich neighborhoods that come with very steep price tags. Just like Alpharetta and Johns Creek, Duluth is highly developed area, so you're gonna find very little new construction here. If you do, it's likely townhomes. Duluth is also known for its highly ranked schools and has the largest Korean population in the state. So you have a lot of great Asian supermarkets in town like H Mart, Just Go, and Mega Mart. All three of the towns that I've mentioned so far are going to come with quite a bit of traffic since they are so heavily developed. Now, just north of Duluth, you're gonna find Suwanee, which has easily become one of the most popular towns in Gwinnett County. Known for its award-winning parks, excellent school system, and family-friendly atmosphere, Suwanee has been recognized nationally as one of the best places to live in the U.S. Suwanee has a great town center, which is their version of a downtown area with a large green space, amphitheater, restaurants, shops, water fountains, playgrounds. It really does have it all. Suwanee's housing market is still on the higher end, with the current average sitting around $695,000. You're gonna find that many large neighborhoods with lots of amenities are located in Suwanee, which cater well for all of the young families that are drawn to the area for the great schools and the parks, since those are the two biggest things that Suwanee is known for. If you're looking for a quiet town with no neighbors and big huge lots, you're not going to have a lot of luck here in Suwanee. You will have a bit more luck with new construction homes, but again, they're going to be pretty small lots and likely going to be a townhouse. Just north of Suwanee is a town called Beaufort. Beaufort is located in both Hall County and Gwinnett County, and it's known also for its award-winning school system, Beaufort City Schools. Now, Beaufort City Schools are some of the highest rated in the state. It is a public school, but the zone for them is very small. So if you want to live in the district, it's going to come with a premium price tag. It's right there in downtown Beaufort, and there's also a train track that runs right through downtown that can often be pretty loud, and it's just one of those things that you have to get used to living in the area. Now, you can also live out of the district and pay tuition if you really want your kids to attend, but they do limit those entry levels into specific grades. Now, aside from the great schools, Beaufort is also home to the state's largest mall, the Mall of Georgia. The mall itself is also surrounded by every store and chain restaurant you could think of, along with a Costco, which I have found out over the years of helping clients relocate from out of state that this is a very big deal for a lot of people. The southern end of Lake Lanier sits on Beaufort, and the town also is home to Margaritaville at Lake Lanier, which has a huge water park, RV resort, hotel, restaurant, and marina. Now, living on the lake in Beaufort comes with another hefty price tag because of its prime location, being on the farthest south end of the lake, which means you're really close to the city here, and you're going to have a lot more access to amenities and things that you won't find in other parts of the lake. Beaufort is the last exit on Interstate 985 before it turns into 85, which will take you straight into Atlanta. So it might not be the fastest commute into the city, but you can get there in a straight shot. The current average sales price in Beaufort is $589,000. And like I mentioned earlier, you're gonna pay more if you're zoned for Beaufort City School District. And of course, if you're gonna live on the lake. You start to have more options for new construction as you get into Beaufort than you would in other areas that I've mentioned so far, which sit south of Beaufort. Always, the closer you get into Atlanta, the harder it is to find new construction and the more expensive the homes are. Now, moving just a little bit farther up northwest of Beaufort, you're gonna find a town called Cumming, which is in Forsyth County, and it's also directly above Alpharetta. I've talked a lot about Cumming recently because it has gone through some major growth and development over the last 5 to 10 years. Cumming was once a small country town, but it sits just north of Alpharetta, and like we talked about earlier, Alpharetta has pretty much reached its capacity for growth in terms of new neighborhoods and new houses. The town is pretty much entirely developed, and that growth has to shift somewhere. So it's moving north and landing and coming where there is still plenty of land to develop, and the schools are also really great. So there's not really much of a trade-off living in Cumming versus Alpharetta. Because of this, there's a ton of new construction neighborhoods going up and coming. So this is the one town that you will have a ton of options if you are looking for a newly built home. There is also plenty of shopping, restaurants throughout Cumming as well. You're going to find even more on the way as you get a little bit closer into South Forsyth, closer to Alpharetta. Now you're going to be able to find all of your big box stores here too. You've got another Costco, and in South Forsyth, in the north end of Alpharetta, there's also a Trader Joe's coming. Like I mentioned earlier, another huge appeal to Cumming is the highly rated schools in Forsyth County. Currently in Cumming, you're looking at an average sales price of around $660,000. And there are a ton of new construction homes here, but they will be close to that average sales price or higher just because the demand is so great in this county. Part of Lake Lanier also sits on Cumming, and of course, these homes are going to sell for a premium. If you need to get to downtown Atlanta from Cumming, you're going to take Georgia 400 to get there, and it's going to take you about an hour to get into the city, again, depending upon traffic. There are still pockets of Cumming that feel a bit more rural, but I would imagine I would give it another 5 to 10 years and that's going to have completely changed. Now let's swing back to the other side of the lake and look at a town just north of Buford. That is Flowery Branch. Flowery Branch is a smaller town and part of the lake runs through it as well. So you actually have access to 2 different marinas here if you want to get out and enjoy the lake. You will find several new construction neighborhoods here, and they start out at a more affordable price point than what we just talked about over in Cumming. At the time of filming this video, the average sales price here is just over $500,000, and you can find new builds in this price point as well. Despite being a small town size-wise, Flowery Branch still has pretty decent shopping. You've got my staples: Target, TJ Maxx, Chick-fil-A, Home Depot, great shopping in terms of grocery stores, plenty of other stores and restaurants, which is very convenient. And another huge benefit to this town is that you have such convenient access to the interstate right here. So you can go down to Buford in 15 minutes south, or you can drive 15 minutes north to Gainesville if you want more options. So it's a really, really great location. There's also a little downtown area, which is very charming, and interestingly enough, Flowery Branch is home to the Atlanta Falcons training complex, so you can go watch them practice here in the spring. Flowery Branch is pretty small compared to the other towns that we've talked about so far, but there's a lot of development happening currently, and this is another prime spot to be on Lake Lanier. If you continue north of Flowery Branch, you're going to end up in Gainesville. I just made a whole video about Gainesville recently, so make sure you check that out here. Much like Cumming, there is a lot of growth happening here because of the undeveloped land. Even though Gainesville is already a pretty developed area, there's still so much more land here that hasn't been developed on. Now, Gainesville has a great downtown area that has gone through a lot of revitalization in the last decade. So it has a ton of great local restaurants and stores, charming events that are happening all the time in downtown Gainesville. Truly, you've got to check it out. Currently, the average sales price here is $555,000. Now, a large part of Lake Lanier is right here in Gainesville, and as we know, living on the lake is going to come with a higher price tag. To me, Gainesville has just about everything I could want in a town. You've got a ton of natural beauty of the lake. Every now and then you can also see glimpses of the Blue Ridge Mountains in the background, and another great thing is that you also have still tons of access to big box stores, restaurants, and amenities, everything that you could want without having to really leave the town. One big thing to note about all these towns is that they kind of just blend into one another. So if there's a town that you are interested in, but they don't have a certain amenity or store that you want to have access to, it's likely located in the next town over, which you can get to in just a few minutes drive. You can drive through one area and think you're in one town, only to look at a map and realize that technically it's a different part of town. All the time when my clients are in town searching for their next house or just getting familiar with the area, they often say, we don't even know where we are. We just kept driving. And that's how I felt too when I moved here 10 years ago. It was just all big, one giant town. Now, all of this is to say that if you are dead set on being in one specific town, all of the areas around it are likely very similar and may have even more of what you're looking for. So try not to put yourself into a box when it comes to the location. So what do you think? Would you consider moving to any of these towns? I need to know which of these is your favorite. Let me know in the comments. Obviously, there are plenty more great areas around the Northeast Metro to choose from, and I'm gonna have to make another video about those. And we're gonna have a ton more videos going in depth on all these areas. So make sure you check those out if you're still trying to figure out what area might be right for you. If you're thinking about making a move to Georgia, I want to be your real estate agent. You can reach me directly by clicking the link in the pinned comment below this video. Make sure you check out this video next if you haven't already.